Today, we're going to try and solve a real mystery, one that's quietly unfolding in childhoods everywhere. What happened to play? And I don't mean the scheduled, adult led kind. I mean the wild, free, kid directed kind of play. And maybe more importantly, why does its disappearance matter so much for the mental health of an entire generation?
This quote, this really gets to the heart of it. It suggests that in our constant effort to guide and protect our kids, we might have accidentally taken away something absolutely essential, something called strategic neglect. So, what does that even mean? Let's unpack it. To really get what's changed, we've got to go back in time, back to a kind of childhood that, for a lot of people today, probably feels like it's from another planet entirely. Just imagine this for a second, a world where your territory stretched as far as your bike could possibly take you. A childhood filled with scraped knees, arguments over rules you literally just made up on the spot, and figuring things out for yourselves. Why? Well, because nobody was watching. Think about the kind of mindset that creates. When you have to navigate the world without constant instructions, you develop this kind of psychological superpower. It's an instinctive little voice in your head that just says, I'll figure it out. And that voice didn't come from being told you are confident, it came from actually being independent. Okay, so now let's flash forward to today. The landscape, as you know, has changed dramatically. And we're starting to see a really troubling trend emerge when it comes to the mental well-being of young people. And this brings us right to the central tension of this whole thing. We've wrapped our kids in layers and layers of safety and structure. But what's been the cost? Have we accidentally traded resilience for protection? Get ready for this number because it's just staggering. According to research by the psychologist Peter Gray, 5 to 8 times as many young people today suffer from clinically significant anxiety or depression compared to how things were back in the 1950s. This isn't just a small shift. It is a seismic one. And this slide right here, this gives us the hard data. These are responses from a major psychological test called the MMPI, given to teens decades apart. I mean, just look at the changes. In 1948, only 18% of teens agreed with the statement, I have trouble making myself do things. By 1989, that number jumped to 51%. This isn't just a vague feeling, it's a measurable, massive shift in how young people are experiencing the world. So if mental health has taken such a nosedive, what exactly disappeared from childhood during that same period? Well, all the evidence seems to point to one crucial activity. Now, we have to be really specific here. We're talking about something called free play. This is not soccer practice. It's not a piano lesson. It's play that is run by the kids for the kids. The only goal is the fun of the activity itself. That's it. And within free play, there's this vital subcategory, risky play. Now, I know what you're thinking. That term sounds pretty alarming, right? But it's not about being reckless. It's about kids testing their own limits in thrilling situations where the outcome isn't certain. It's that feeling of being right on the edge of your comfort zone and learning from it. So what does this actually look like? Well, here are the main types. We're talking about playing at heights, climbing high enough to feel a little bit scared, playing at high speeds, like on a bike or a swing, using real tools, being near elements like water or fire, even having the chance to explore far enough that you might get a little lost. And yeah, good old-fashioned rough and tumble play. These are all the natural ways kids learn to assess risk and manage their own safety. And believe me, this isn't just kids being kids. There's some serious brain building going on here. Psychologist Peter Gray points out 5 critical functions of this kind of play. It's how children learn to solve problems, how they develop self-control, how they manage big emotions like fear and anger, and how they learn to cooperate with others. When you take this away, you're removing a fundamental training ground for a healthy, resilient mind. All right, so if play is so incredibly important, where on earth did it go? Well, the decline has been steady for decades, and it seems like there are a few key culprits. A huge piece of the puzzle is parental fear. Surveys show almost half of parents restrict outdoor play because they're terrified of predators. But here's the crazy paradox. Crime rates involving children have actually gone down, but nonstop media coverage has fueled this perception of a more dangerous world. The result? Kids are effectively kept inside. At the exact same time, academic pressure has just exploded. Free play is now seen as a waste of valuable learning time. In so many schools, recess has shrunk or disappeared completely, and it's been replaced with more instruction and test prep. Childhood has become this race to build a resume, and it's squeezing out all that unstructured time. And this visual, this really says it all, doesn't it? On one side, you see this organic, imaginative play happening. On the other, a modern playground, which has been engineered to be as safe as humanly possible. And while that's well intentioned, these hyper safe environments often strip out the very elements of risk and creativity that are so crucial for development. So that's the problem. But the good news is, experts are starting to push back. They're offering a new way of thinking about childhood and some really practical tools to help bring healthy risk back into play. This quote right here is a total game changer. As safe as necessary, not as safe as possible. It's a fundamental shift in mindset. It's an acknowledgement that when you try to eliminate all risk, you also eliminate all the opportunities for growth, for learning, and for building that resilience we've been talking about. So how do we actually do this? This slide has some amazing actionable tips. Instead of just projecting our own anxiety by yelling, "Be careful," we can ask questions that actually build a child's awareness and their problem-solving skills. See, we're not telling them what to do, we're helping them learn to think for themselves.
Here's another simple but really powerful tool, the 17-second rule. The next time you feel that parental panic start to rise, the advice is to just step back and watch for 17 seconds. So often in that tiny little window of time, you'll see the child assess the situation and solve the problem all on their own. It's about learning to manage our anxiety, not their risk.
And that leaves us with this final, really thought-provoking question. You know, this isn't about nostalgia or saying one way was better. It's about understanding the trade-offs. The world has definitely changed, but the fundamental needs of a developing human brain haven't. And maybe, just maybe, the greatest challenge for today's generation isn't the physical dangers outside, but all of the invisible pressures inside.